Hello, I'm here with John Rudolph, who is a loan officer with Waterstone Mortgage. And I work with John. He does a lot with some of my buyers in the mortgage world. And I want to ask John a few questions that may be helpful to people out there in the real estate world. First off, John, what about this market we're in right now in 2021?
Absolutely insane. I mean, you know just as well as I do. It is a boom, and with so many people being affected by the pandemic, our industry is doing so well. It's a crazy time, but it's a good time.
Absolutely, it is. It is. You couldn't say it better. It's crazy, but good time to be in the real estate world.
Absolutely.
What I want to ask you about is a couple ideas because I get a lot of people who are new to the real estate world, and they ask me some of the things. And one of the first things I usually tell them to do is get pre-approved before we go looking at houses and finding out what that involves. And what's your thought on the benefits of somebody getting a pre-approval?
Couldn't agree with you more. I mean, so many people in the, who are buying right now, not only is it their first time, but it may have been so long since they've gone through the process. They're used to the old way of doing things where if you're getting pre-approved, you're addressing a lot of the issues up front. If you have anything that's wrong with your credit, possibly collections, judgments, so on and so forth, at least if you're getting pre-approved before you're actually out there hunting, you're able to address these problems up front, know what you can afford, foresee any possible downfalls in this situation, and save yourself some heartache. Because ultimately what I'm seeing a lot of is people find a house, they fall in love with it, they want to make an offer, then they get pre-approved and can't happen, and they're just heartbroken. So from the buyer's perspective, absolutely smartest thing you can do.
Yeah, so I tell people sometimes because I ask them what their price range is and what the type of home they're looking for. And then they're like, we don't even know. And I said, then you need to get pre-approved so we kind of know the price range to even begin looking so that, like you said, we don't find a house that they fall in love with and we have to backtrack and go that way. But
they sometimes find out that they're able to go towards a first-time home buyer program. Maybe they're in a specific industry, nurses, doctors, home healthcare professionals. There's specific programs out there that they may not have had any knowledge of prior to. So it's good to start that conversation and initiate it before the house hunting process even begins. So tons of benefits.
That's why I send my people to you, because you have those inside tracks on things like that I'm not even often aware of what you just said is, if you're a first time home buyer versus this and versus that they may qualify for different areas. So that's why I often say, hey, talk to John, because he has all the answers that I can, I know of, not to be dangerous, but he has all the answers. So could you talk a little bit about the process for pre-approval? Because people ask me, hey, I'm ready to get pre-approved. What do I need to do? What do I need to talk with John about? What documents do I need? How long does it take? Can you talk about that process slightly?
Absolutely. So the pre-approval process is actually very easy. One of two ways we usually do it. Number one is we will either have a conversation over the phone. I'll be able to, basically ask the right questions, or what we're seeing a lot of right now is online applications. It takes about 7-8 minutes. You need basic information, address, social, things you would already know off the top of your head, but then 2 years of residency, 2 years of work history. And then that gives you the ability, when you do the online side, to think, wait, when did I start that job? When did I move to this, residence? When this, when that? So for the most part, it's just basic information during the pre-approval. Then what usually happens is I'll follow up almost instantaneously with an email based on their specific criteria or their situation and say, okay, here's what you need for you. Self-employment's a little different. Are you receiving benefits? The list can go on and on and on. So really taking a generalized idea of just the pre-approval and taking your best information and then following it up with actual physical documentation to take it the next step from there. But the pre-approval itself, not that bad. Gives you a chance, like we've said initially, go over everything that you don't really know, credit score and any possible downfalls.
Now, how long, say someone gets pre-approved today for a home, how long does that pre-approval generally last? A couple months?
Yeah, about 4 months. So the credit report and the pre-approval are good for usually about 120 days. So obviously there's a ton that can happen in that time frame. And I usually try and coach people and say, okay, while this is going on, don't do anything drastic. Don't do this, do that. And then during that time frame, I mean, you can attest to the market being the way it is. If you don't find anything initially, there's tons of different things you can do in the meantime. Help your credit score, save some money. We actually offer something as well called a platinum pre-approval, which is literally fully underwriting a loan without a property in place. So in essence, the borrower is going to do a loan, not have a house picked out. That'll then give them the information on here's your maximum purchasing power. And as long as they don't go over that, the closing process actually happens in about 2 weeks or less, because at that moment, all you need is the appraisal and your title work, and you're done. So it's kind of like doing the process before there's ever a home. It's actually super seamless, but a lot of work up front.
Now, clients have asked me this before. Is there a benefit to somebody getting pre-approved through more than one mortgage company or lender?
So that is typically, it's a buyer's market. Put it in the perspective of if you're going to buy a car. Are you just going to go to one place and buy a car? Not usually. With today's technology and the availability of information, a lot of people are doing online searches and everything along those lines. Now, where we fall into the mix is we are a mortgage company. We don't do commercial, we don't do residential banking, we don't do anything but home mortgages. So we have a ton more products than we're going to say Huntington, Chase, Wells Fargo may have. So although it is sometimes beneficial for people to shop around, I mean, you know, like I said, if you're going to go buy a car, you want the best deal possible. You want the best interest rate possible. Shopping around is always something that I am not naive to the fact, but I can always guarantee everyone, hey, I'll meet or beat almost anything out there as long as you can get documentation. My management has told us directly that. Be competitive in the marketplace, and we sell our service. I know you can attest to the fact of most traditional banks, lenders are gonna, take the weekends off. They work 9 to 5. Someone calls me 6 o'clock on a Sunday night, I'm usually going to answer. If I can't answer, I'm shooting a text. Hey, I'm a little busy. Do you mind calling? If I call you back. So we really sell our services, and that little bit of added touch where this is a daunting process for a lot of people. They want to feel comfortable in it. So although it is smart to shop around, our customer service is unparalleled.
Fantastic. I know you spoke to this a few minutes ago or a couple times. Sadly, some people may not have a terribly good credit rating and maybe not get pre-approved. But what do you do with clients that maybe are close to getting approval or maybe a little bit on the lower side of a credit score? Is there anything that you would suggest that they do to get themselves in better graces?
Absolutely. Great question. So tons of clients that I've worked with over the past couple of years have had less than perfect credit. So we do free credit repair. And the way we do this is we have a couple different ways that we go through the bureaus and we run these scenarios. And basically what we'll do is create a game plan for the client and say, okay, whatever your credit score may be, here's the time frame you're looking at. Here's, roughly the dollar figure you're going to be looking at. Here are the specific actions that you need to take. Now, we're able to do free credit repair because I always tell my clients it's going to take your time, your effort, and your money. If you're willing to give me those three, I will get you where you need to be. Don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but young lady I worked with for over 2.5 years. She did everything to a T. Now, it did take 2.5 years, but then she finally just bought her home not 3 months ago, and she is ecstatic over it. And that means more than anything to be able to help someone in a situation like that. So keeping low balances, great way to do it. Sometimes even not paying off a debt. A lot of people say, I have this credit card and I pay it off every single month. And although that is good, I'm not going to say it's not. Every once in a while, it is good to leave a little bit of a balance, $10, $15, $25, because once they understand that the credit bureaus and the debtors out there, it's a business. How do businesses operate? On profit. How do they make profit? Interest. So every once in a while, not paying credit cards off, things like that, little insider tips that not a lot of people really know. And I find a lot of joy in that, being able to help someone who's in a less than ideal situation and get them to the finish line. And they're like, okay, now I know how to conduct myself for the rest of my life. Next thing you know, their score turns from a low 500 to a mid 600. Now they're able to purchase. A year later, they're at 700s, and sky's the limit from there.
Fantastic. Those are the stories we would like to hear, is the feel good, happy endings, and those are always the ones for me, and sounds like for you too, that we strive for with our people we work with to make everybody happy. So that's fantastic. You have a plan to do that, because sadly not everybody has the best credit, and you can work with them to get them to the place they need to be. So I appreciate talking with you today. And I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention or anything like that, but I'd like to share your information so that others can contact you, and would be a good asset, as you've been a great person to work with me and my clients in the real estate world. And I wish you luck in the future, and I'm sure we're going to be talking again as more clients are getting pre-approved. And again, thank you for the conversation today, John.
Hey, my pleasure, John. Always fun.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
You do the same.